I work for Marquee. It's one of the biggest nightclubs in the world. This guy would come in with a lime, hand it to you and say, cut this lime. And I would cut it up and it'd be like 8 pieces. And he's like shaking his head in disgust. So then he gets a lime and a knife and he cuts it into like 28 pieces. And he's like, limes are $2 each right now. Same thing with napkins. I mean, this guy's nuts. So I started doing that in our business. I looked at hit rate like sip sticks. Limes are my ad costs. So we began to test things like $2 ad sets. And we're still seeing winners. Like I
Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone actually knows how much he is doing.
Yeah.
DTC Growth Summit, Showroom Delphina. That's on the agency side. They have a trade show. They're doing all kind of things there. And then on the brand side, formerly Perfectwhitetee, which is still scaling through the roof, now somewhere sunny NY. We've got to bring my man, Johnny Hickey, inside this show. Johnny, get in here. Get in here now.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
How are you guys doing?
Boy.
Oh. Wow, he's got the Audi. He's got the Audi.
I see that. I see that Audi hat there. There you are.
Love
now
that.
we got you. Johnny, welcome to the show, man. You are all over the place, always doing so much. Man, we're glad you carved out some time to get on here, brother. But we've been wanting to have you on.
I had to carve some time out of my sun chairs over there.
Dang, he's living the life.
You are. And this I find to be one of the things that's most compelling about you, brother, is that as you are doing so many things, you've got brand over here. You've got this agency piece that you're working on. You've got
I'm just a janitor.
Okay, yeah. And it's that kind of spirit and heart. That's the exact thing I am talking about, okay?
Yeah.
And making it look effortless, minimalist, hey, nonchalant, brother. We just run a few ads, we make a little creative and sales go up and to the right. I mean, give us insight into all that you do and how you make it look so effortless, man.
For sure.
There's a lot of people working behind the scenes. I try to thank them, and sometimes I forget. Like I would say every month or two, I'll be like, hey, thanks a lot. And I'll list like 8 agencies.
Wow.
We have only one marketing employee in-house, and that's me. Although I would say some of the people in the company do hold marketing titles, but they wouldn't even know how to log into Ads Manager or Klaviyo or barely get into Shopify in some cases. No, so they've pretty much turned over marketing to me for the most part on the technical side, but on the content side, they own it.
Okay.
So when you're talking about like the reason I say janitor is that in my estimation, a marketing guy is just a guy who's using tools. So he's cleaning the toilet bowl, he's making sure that the water fountain has the right temperature. He's doing all that stuff, but he's not in the classrooms teaching. He's not writing the books. So that's what I think as marketers we do. We're behind the scenes pulling levers and doing our thing. But if you don't have the content, if you don't have the product, if you don't have all that stuff down, the branding, good luck.
Well, I hear you on that. If all you got is the tools and you don't really have anything to work with as far as those tools are concerned, then you're in trouble. I think my guess is, though, even though you esteem your role to be, in its own kind of way, largely on the technical side, I think you probably got a little insight into selling apparel for women. That is my guess. And I'll tell you this, I don't. Yeah, my entire career, all I've been doing is largely remaining inside the manosphere, so to speak, and selling to men and targeting men, et cetera, in large part, not exclusively, but I think you've probably got some insight there. Is that fair?
I started in women's wear in the 90s, selling clothing to women directly.
All right.
In the early 90s. And by the time I would say 1995 had arrived, I had a clothing store in New York City in Manhattan, and I was selling predominantly to women, vintage clothing wear.
Wow.
Which is a tough business, it's not fun vintage. Well, it's fun, but it's not productive. It's tough to scale. And then I worked for I did a tiny bit of work behind the scenes. I worked for, I guess it would be a stretch to say I worked for Calvin Klein. I worked for Calvin Klein in some of their photo shoots. And I worked behind the scenes at some photo shoots. I was like a PA. I worked at Victoria's Secret photo shoots. I worked at a number of photo shoots. Those are the big ones that I can remember. Those are the ones I worked on the most. And I was very familiar with public relations because I worked for a lot of public relations companies. I worked around a lot of fashion people, not necessarily doing the front end work, but like moving a sandbag to hold down lights, that kind of thing.
Well, whatever you've been doing, it's been working, because I see Perfectwhitetee and I see Somewhere Sunny NY. I see it everywhere.
A lot of that's probably my wife. She really she's good at boutiques, like so. I'll give you for instance. We just hit 1 million on Sunny Somewhere.
Wow,
that's great.
It's a huge milestone, by the way.
60 days, probably 2 months. I'm not sure what it's doing on Shopify. I'm so lazy. I haven't even opened up the Shopify recently, so I really need to look at it. But we hit 1 million probably within the last 60 days. I think it was 45 days ago or something like that. And if you look at it, it's 90% non-Shopify business. So they did an order they did a 6-figure order to a single store that has multiple locations, obviously, but they've been selling like some of the biggest retailers out there.
Wow.
I'm gonna lie if I say which one it is. Like, if you said that the biggest online retailers were Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, Revolve, and Shop Up, they're in one of them. It's not Bloomingdale's and it's not Nordstrom with Sunny Somewhere. I would say I don't want to say which one it is because they'll be mad. The one who's not will be like, what are you talking about?
Oh, good.
Getting into those retailers is extremely difficult. And once you do it, we're on their website. They're showing ads to millions of women for Sunny Somewhere. So that's a lot of what goes on with these brands. Is that I saw a map yesterday, and there's 1,100 stores with Perfectwhitetee in it in the United States.
Wow.
The coverage that they have in some of the most expensive zip codes in the country is ridiculous. And they have their strategies and whatever for doing that. And I'm aware of that because I worked in that business for a good amount of time. We've had that business since 2008, and I worked in that business before 2008 because my wife was in that business, and I helped her in her job before that.
Wow.
I really want to double click on DTC Growth Summit, which I know you just wrapped up with. But Colin, I don't want to take away your thunder here. Where do you want to go with this?
I was going to follow up exactly with that. Let's talk about DTC Growth Summit for sure.
It's purely selfish.
Well, it looks like a very unique experience event that you're doing, and I know it's fairly new. I mean, as far as I can remember, it's new as in a year old. Is that right?
The first event was in July 23rd of 2024.
So to me, whenever that happens, and of course I have thought about this myself, but to me that happens when you've experienced events like that before and you're wanting to create something that solves problems, unique problems that you don't see meeting the need right now. And so I wonder on your side, and what's been motivation for you to create this and then start taking it around the country? I know you guys are going to Nashville next.
Yeah, we're bringing it to Nashville in about 55 to 60 days. We're still trying to between all the different schedules. So the inspiration I was at Jimmy's conference in Miami last year I think it was in April. Was it in April? Yeah, April 29th or something like that. And he was very kind to give me a spot on the small stage speaking outside. I like to speak, man. I like to talk.
Awesome.
So I was happy with that. And I had been talking to Grow New York about, I always talk to them. I've spoken at their conference once. And, I was kind of like, hey, would you like to have John Hickey come speak at your conference again? And they weren't too enthusiastic about it.
All right. Okay.
So I spoke at one, and they weren't like, yeah, John, come on down. They basically just said to me, maybe, we'll see, and we're going to schedule the date yet. So I was like, okay, that doesn't mean no. I still got
doesn't mean no.
And then at Jimmy's conference in Miami, I was talking to somebody and I said, man, I'm still, I'm looking forward to Grow. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to speak there or not. Haven't heard back. And then that person said, when? And I go, they usually have in July or June or something. And they go, oh no, they got pushed back to November. And I was like, no, because the reason I originally started going to conferences is somebody told me that it was a good place to learn about tactics to grow your business.
Yeah.
So in November, or no, was it in the spring of 2023, or yeah, so in November of 2022, we had sat down and said, hey, how much money you want to do next year in sales? We had done almost 3 million that year. And our next goal was 10 million. So
Wow.
months later in the spring, it wasn't looking good for 10 million. It was looking like this.
Yeah.
I'm like wildly hunting around. I'm in like Nick Sharma's group. I'm in the operators group. I'm in the, just all these different groups, like hunting down ideas, trying to find something. Cause I'm like a thief,
Take that.
Somebody gives up an idea and I'm like, I grab it and I just try to wrangle it, execute it a little bit, then turn it over to somebody else to execute it at a higher level. Cause
Yeah.
And so I got the idea to go to the DTC Grow conference in New York City. And I went there and it was nuts. One of the things, I'll tell you, one of the biggest things I learned there that everybody should do is try to do an email collaboration with the brand you share a customer for, who you don't compete with.
Yeah.
Make sure the tie-in is strong.
Yeah. Not enough people talk about this.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
No, please.
No, we want you to talk about
We
it.
want you to talk about it. This is a great idea. Please go into this.
So I got this guy. He's secretive. You should have him on the show. His name is Rob. His wife has a handbag brand called Shorty Love.
Okay.
So I ran into Rob at the conference, and we know each other, but he said he had been asking for a while. He said, hey, what about an email collab? Remember that? And I go, my people are so slow, man. He goes, I don't care. Just give me the go ahead and I'll take care of everything. I'll write the email. So I was like, okay, cool, do it. And that was it. He did it. He did all the work. We sent it, and keeping in mind, we were doing 3 million a year the year before. So, you're looking at less than 500 grand a month. We did 500 new customers from the email collab.
Wow.
500 people off of his list became our customer. It was like huge spike. So that was just one thing. There was, I think, I don't want to lie, I would say it was almost 15 things that I had on a spreadsheet of these are the things that I'm going to do. One of them was CAPI, Conversion API. Postpilot was another one.
Yeah.
There was just a bunch of things that I did. And we hit 9.7 million that year. We were way off track before.
That's good. So you got right up there close to 10.
Yeah, you were close.
Almost.
That's
Wow.
huge. That's huge.
That's incredible, man. Well, so it sounds like DTC Growth Summit, you've created a new place and space that you've got more hands-on where people can do tactical learning from people who are actually growing brands, learning things like that. And you can craft that experience more to your liking. Fair?
So let me just lay something out. He's gonna shake his head probably in disgust when he hears this. But do you know Kamal Razak?
No.
Okay, so Kamal owns MHI Scale. It's an agency that make video ads. So, I've been working with Kamal for over a year and change at this point. And here's one thing: like I know other people have used Kamal, and they'll say, they'll say, man, it can't be just Kamal because you're having tremendous success, and I tried to use Kamal too. We give Kamal a lot of good content to work with. So,
Sure.
but he's talented. So if I would, like if you were Kamal, if I said to you, hey, Kamal, do me a favor, lay out your complete SOP that you rolled out on Perfectwhitetee a year and a half ago to write these ads. He's going to be like, sure, I'll send it to you. And it's going to be like a paragraph long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and he may not want to give that up,
Yeah, I was about to say, you might not want to give that up.
So how about so let's give you another scenario. So how about you build up Kamal for 60 days that he's going to be at an event, and you give him a microphone and stand him up in front of the stage. He gives you the whole playbook. So that's basically what I do with all these speakers. I pick out people that I want to hear about, and I just do it. Now, the thing is most people probably will have a tough time executing some of these strategies.
Sure.
That's just reality. And me too. But as a result of what he did, now I still use his agency, but as a result, we were able to build up our own little in-house team for video because, we've always made creatives. From day one, we've made creatives. And at one point, I think we're probably like 40 million or maybe 30 million. I'm not exactly positive. we had never bought a piece of creative from anybody ever.
Wow.
And 30 million in sales.
Wow.
We started to try it and it wasn't working. And then I think William Cast, you guys probably know him.
I don't
either.
He's on Twitter. He made some good ads for us. He did. And then Kamal made some good ads for us, and then Breakthrough Creatives. But we had gotten to probably, because we just crossed 100 million in the last week or so.
Awesome.
We had gotten to a tremendous amount of success just on the in-house creative team, but we were struggling to scale. And, it's like one of those things where all of the pieces were there, but you just need one thing. And he gave us that thing. And Kamal, to his credit, was extremely descriptive in his talk. And what I love though is I said that to him recently. I sent this thing. I was like, "Hey bro, I'm sorry, but this is what I did." And he goes, "Don't worry, I didn't give you all of the statement."
Didn't give you the complete sauce. That's fair. Nice.
So all of those speakers do that. All of the speakers are people.
Love it.
Dana. Do you know Dana from Carry Proof?
Nope.
No.
Johnny, I think your circle and my circle needs to close a little bit, because you're naming a lot of people I don't know, and
I don't know any of these people either, but they sound amazing.
You need to get Dana on the show. So Dana started his brand. I might get the figures. I think it's 15 months ago. They started a brand, and they've done 18 million in sales.
My.
Jesus.
He sells wallets, men's
All right.
slim wallets.
Yeah.
It's a field with people who are supposedly good at marketing, and he's dominating. He's snatching 8 figures right from the big boys. You know what I mean?
That's
so
crazy.
When I didn't know what he was selling, because he's in my group. I have this Ecomm group with 80 people, and there's all of these, no agencies, there's me, so there was one agency, but there's no other agencies, no software products, just 85 marketers or 83 marketers, and he's in the group, and he talks every once in a while, and I'm like, what is he saying? And so I heard about the tremendous scale that he's getting.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
And I'm asking him questions and stuff. He's pretty close, he's pretty tight-lipped about it. He'll give you a little bit, and I was like, man, we got to give this guy a microphone.
Wow. So you're probably how I'm guesstimating how your key to success is you basically try to get into the rooms with these guys, and then any of the guys that you're like, I need more of the sauce, you're like, do you want to be a speaker? Because I feel like we need to have you on stage. So you're basically curating all of the knowledge that you want for all the people around you. Like just straight up. I love that.
I did it on YouTube for years.
Oh, wow.
I would listen to people's YouTubes. There's a guy, Mr. Sam Baldwin. I learned everything I knew about Google Ads years ago from him. And then I stopped doing Google Ads at one point because we sell women's apparel. Women don't shop on Google as much. So, I dedicated myself to Facebook ads, and I followed Marin Istanovich. He was one of the speakers too.
Oh yeah, I know of Marin. I
took one of these courses. I listened to Nick Therio. I listened to the Konstantinos, the ads master, Facebook ads master. All those different guys who talk about ads on YouTube or Reddit or whatever. I would just take everything that they had and listen to it, and then write some stuff down and try to execute it. I'm nothing original, obviously.
Now you're just doing that in real life and getting all of those big brains into one room.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I like that.
Nice.
Well, it sounds like it's working, brother. I've
That's
been seeing people rave about the event, and so it sounds like it's working. Well, where's this thing going after Nashville? I mean, we ever going to see you in Central Texas? I threw Central Texas out there not long ago, and it didn't seem like we quite made it yet, but I'd like to see you down this way.
Nashville won the poll.
Yeah.
I don't always, and now I say this, I've said this before, because I do take polls, but it's not always a vote.
All right. yeah, that's fair. Not a vote, but I do want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, listen to your vote, but it's not necessarily, it's a poll. It's not an election, I should say.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to mention here is it's not all success. We have a lot of failure. We sold 4 or 5 stores a couple of years ago. We used to have brick and mortar retail stores. My first clothing store closed down, owing a lot of money. My real estate business actually did make a good amount of money, but went from worth, a good amount of money to being worth about 20% of what it had been worth at one point. So there is a lot of failure. You know, in 2019, I lost a couple of $1 million. And then in 2020, in the very first part of 2020, I lost a couple of $100,000 in the stock market because I was being an idiot.
Oh my.
Not all success all the time. And then we closed down our first two brands. And just to show you that I'm an idiot sometimes, we closed down a brand in 2021, and I forgot to turn the Google ads off.
Oh my.
Oh my God.
And it was a $25,000 bill after the website was closed.
Oh my.
Oh my God.
And I'm an idiot too.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah, that doesn't make you feel good.
That
doesn't
hurts.
make you feel good.
That was a
That's
bad.
hurt.
That's not the kind of bill you want to get.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I will say in that vein, I actually feel like we learn the most from our mistakes, but I've found that sometimes it's hard to share those kind of things when you get inside of a room. When we were doing Separate Club here every quarter, we would get 12 to 20 folks who are around here. It's easy to talk about your wins. It's much more difficult to talk about your losses and get actual feedback. But I think that's really what we need a lot of times when you get inside some of these spaces. How do you facilitate that? Is there something that you've tried, like what you did just there, sharing a story that elicits more genuine feedback where people can open up like that? Have you guys experimented with that inside the Growth Summit?
I think the best way to get people talking about failures, you hit on it, is you just talk about your own.
Yeah.
And definitely what you had said before too was you learn from your mistakes. I took a $188,000 loss recently in a single month, and it caused me to just look at everything we were doing. 188 grand.
My.
Everything we were doing, and was like, I am chopping software, I'm cutting this, I need day-to-day reports on contribution margin. I need like up to date, like up to the minute of everything that we're doing. Every agency, like Barry Hott and I have been battling over on Twitter about hit rate. I look at everything now because I took a shellacking this year at one point. I mean, just a real bad beating. And I was like, man, how did that happen? I looked at it and I just realized that when I worked in the liquor business, I worked for this guy, and I remember his name is Patrick Hannay Robertson. He's in Singapore right now running Tao or Marquee in Singapore.
Yeah.
I work for Marquee. It's one of the biggest nightclubs in the world. I worked for them for about 10 years.
Tao's insane.
This guy would come in with a lime to work, and he would be like, hand it to you and say, do me a favor, cut this lime the way you normally do. And I would cut it up, and there'd be like 8 pieces. And he's like shaking his head in disgust. So then he gets a lime and a knife, and he cuts it into like 28 pieces. And he's like, limes are $2 each right now. This is how you the next 30 days until I inform you differently. I'm like, okay, cool. So he'd be like, come to my bar in the middle of the night, and he'd be like, hey, I noticed you put 2 sip sticks in that drink. 1 sip stick per drink. Same thing with napkins. I mean, this guy's nuts.
Wow.
So it should not surprise you that his boss, his name is Andrew Sasson, this guy who owns, part of that place, who hired me maybe 25 years ago, actually 29 years ago. The guy went from having about 60 grand in investors' money in the United States to making it to be one of the richest men in America at one point.
Wow.
He sold his company for, he actually sold the same company twice for like 50 million both times, I think. And that guy went from relative obscurity to being like well-known worldwide because he had a guy like that. So I started doing that in our business. I looked at hit rate like sip sticks. Limes are my ad costs. So now what I do is, if I have about 8 agencies in the account, and the reason I do that is because I've noticed that it's efficient to scale. But the problem is everything breaks at some point. And so if you have an agency on a performance contract, and then you have an agency that's paying per piece or per concept, and each agency has their own system. So it's hard to track these things, and I don't want to overlay our system on them. I'm just like, how do you like to work? And then they do it. And I like to lead people to do their thing. But I started to notice that we were somewhat inefficient in some cases. So what I began to measure is things like, how much does it cost to test each ad? And is there a sweet spot where you test an ad and you spend a certain amount of money and you get 90% of the winners, and you spend more money and you only get 10% more winners.
Yeah.
So we began to test things like $2 ad sets.
Wow.
We're testing $2 ad sets for a while now. I tested 5 in the beginning, and we were popping up winners. And then now I'm testing at $2, and we're still seeing winners. Like I just
Seriously.
I just opened an account. It's been, I think 3 days ago we started $2 ad sets on it. It's Sunny Somewhere. $2 ad sets, 3 conversions, and the product is a $90 product.
and what you're finding from that is that, hey, if we get a couple of conversions, hey, these are the winners, and then we can cut the rest and we can scale this.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, I got to be honest. I didn't expect it to happen. I was planning to look it up. So I'm trying to remember this guy's name. There's a guy on Twitter. What's the guy, Jason Applebaum?
Oh, yeah. Jason Applebaum. He does not have a profile picture.
No.
I'm not talking about him because he's obviously a master of ads and affiliate and all that.
Looks
but there's
like it.
another guy who's friends with him. I'm trying to remember his name, and he has this crazy ad set system testing. I'll tag him when you guys post this, but he basically said that they run their ads only on Facebook, I think, and that so manual placements, and he only runs them add to carts or something like that, and he tests them at this low number. Okay. And when he said that, I go, well, there's obviously another way to do things then. So that's what got me to thinking. And I looked at our system, and I didn't use his system. I was just like, let me come up with something that's pretty close to what he does that we're already doing. And I'll find his name and his post. I watched his YouTube video. He's pretty intelligent guy. Definitely somebody that people should be paying attention to.
Wow. And what you just described right there is totally new for me. I mean,
Yes.
there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, apparently.
Yeah. That's like a frame breaker moment where you're thinking about Facebook ads in a certain way, and then Johnny, you just like blew my mind. I never would have been like, we're gonna do $2 ad sets and just like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh, okay. I thought you always just made budget go up.
Well, I mean, we do raise the budget once they hit, obviously. But what we were finding was is that you get winners at a low rate, and then you could spend $500, $1,000 on losers, and they're still losers.
Yeah.
So the idea is we were looking for soft metrics. We were planning to look for soft metrics and then graduate them, but they started getting conversions, and I'm still using the soft metrics. I am, but I think what's going on is Meta is so smart, and you give it a low spend, and it's like, plus here's one thing. We are putting good creative in there.
Yeah.
Man, I have taken a few things away from this conversation. Number one, I need to go to your Twitter profile and find everybody that you're following. And then I need to go through there and figure out all the people that I don't know. That's number one for me. And number two, I love this kind of outside of the box testing, considering, trying to efficiently find the fastest way possible to get winners, which we're all doing. But I've never thought about doing something like this. And I think if you've got this in your bag, there's probably more there. I think we need you on more stages, brother.
Yeah, that's true.
Another one for you, actually. Have you guys been doing email?
Yeah, I love it. I've used Postpilot. I've also used this other one that I cannot remember right now. I can't remember the name, but yeah, I love it.
Yeah, same here.
Experimenting with Every Door Direct Mail.
Every Door Direct Mail.
Okay.
So you're like canvassing an entire neighborhood, so to speak.
Yeah, you could go to the post office. There's providers who will pick certain zip codes, and they just blast the whole zip code. And it's about 50% the cost of what it would be for if you were picking. Because when you prospect, and when I said direct mail, I meant prospecting. Because I've been using Postpilot for years to hit people who were in the funnel already, but prospecting wise, it's a little tougher. You can't send catalogs to people who are prospecting. Doesn't really convert as well. So you got to present a different image. I did a catalog last year with this agency, Bellardi Wong. And I don't know if you guys know Leo Valouche. I'm gonna mess up his name. So Leo from Print Fresh.
Nope. Don't know him.
He's a cool guy. So Leo and I, free flow of information, and I'm always recommending stuff to him. He's always recommending stuff to me. He's a great guy. A little bit more low key than me. He's on Twitter though. So he recommended to me this agency by the name of Bilardi Wong. And I had never heard of them, but they're a big agency.
Okay.
So they said, he said they're great at catalogs, sending catalog campaigns, prospecting campaigns. So last year I was like, hey man, we'll give it a shot. We sent 200,000 piece mailer, 18-page catalog, and it was nuts. I mean,
Really?
crazy.
Wow.
So
and
you went forward with a catalog.
What's that?
You went forward with a catalog. You prospected with a catalog.
Yeah. So they give you a list of people, and then they give you a spreadsheet, and on the spreadsheet it's this one converted, and I think I don't want to lie. I think we had like 2.5% or 3% or something like that. But the numbers crush. I mean, the money is crazy. I was like, okay, when can we send another one? So we sent another one we sent another one this year. So now I'm sending one like every 6 weeks, 200,000 piece mailers. And then I got
seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, book. I'm in this mastermind online. Brian Kurtz, he's the publisher of the book Breakthrough Advertising.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got a mastermind. So I joined his mastermind, and he's like, talk to my buddy over here. You doing direct mail? Talk to my buddy. So the guy gave me a book. So I started reading about it, and I found about every door direct mail. And what it is, say on Shopify, you go in, you pull a report, which zip codes do we sell the most stuff to? You find one, and you're like, okay, let me test. There's 800 people in that zip code. So, because for us, we can do that. Maybe for some products, they're not going to have anything, but I have a zip code that happens to be an island, and only 800 people live there. So I can send the whole 800 because I have like a bunch of customers on that island. So I can send the whole 800 person list with a catalog, and it costs like $50.
That's amazing.
It's dirt cheap. So I can send the whole list. If I wanted to go to a prospecting place for this, I have to purchase the list. It's like 35 cents per name, and you got to pay a fee to prospect.
Yeah.
10 grand for them to do the search and everything. But now I can just pull out these little zip codes and be like, I'm going to hit that whole neighborhood. You wouldn't be sending neighborhoods that I grew up in. I grew up in the Bronx, so nobody's doing EDDM for the Bronx but you want to pick a neighborhood that has, wealthy people, and you have a product that costs a lot of money. Like, for instance, did you have the guy from Chisos on your show?
Yeah. Will was here just a couple days ago.
Yeah, so I thought I saw that. I talked to him like a year ago. He's a good guy. So he's the type of guy that I would say he should try that too, because there's probably some small towns, $600 product, right? $700 product.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8
up there.
He probably could find some small towns that are rural. So that checks the box of it's not 10,000 people that you're sending to.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of customers there. He probably has that same kind of thing. That's what you have to look for. You have to look for zip codes where it would make sense for that brand.
I'm glad that you brought this up, because I have explored prospecting multiple times with standard tools that most people go to inside of our space. And each time it's always been, you don't want to do that.
Which tool?
Well, there's this other one I cannot remember. And then it was Postpilot. And each time it's just like, hey, just be forewarned, it's probably not going to see the greatest yield, but I'm glad that you bring this up, because number one, there's a way to get it cheaper, and there's a way to do it more strategically, where you can hit a zip code that is totally fitting for your wealth bracket, and you already have a significant amount of customers inside. That is great. And you're sending freaking catalogs. I just assumed, Johnny, you would be sending a postcard, cheap as possible. No, you're sending a catalog, and you're prospecting these people that way. That's incredible.
Well, it's there's a couple of things going on. So first of all, the cost to send a postcard is mostly the postage. If you look at the cost to send a mailer, and this is what my buddy from my mastermind had explained to me. He said, what do you guys send it? So I said, oh, we send a lot of postcards. He's like, don't do it. I'm like, why not? He goes, well, how much is the printing cost on a catalog that the person can go through and they can look through? He's like, a beautiful catalog with beautiful paper and all these different things. And I was like, well, I don't know. And he goes, well, I do. This is what it costs. So I have his book. I got his book, and I read his book, and it's like a funnel. The mailer has to be like a funnel, and the funnel, if it's a postcard, is very shallow.
Yeah.
And I do think that Postpilot does do catalogs, but
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. The issue I think that we had was we want a certain kind of paper, and that was a little bit of a, a wrestling match as to whether we could get it, the right paper. With this other place, they had like 20 kinds of paper that I like, that we, not that I like, but the white. And that was the kicker.
Wow.
Man, that is juicy.
That is juicy.
Well, Johnny, one or two things either need to happen. I either need to make my way to Nashville, or you either need to make your way to Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be on the docket. Is that fair, Colin?
Absolutely.
We talked about Dallas sooner.
Here's the thing. I mean, okay, I'm from Dallas, so of course I love Dallas. But man, the ecom community is not so active there. Not so active. It's a big business place. Now there's plenty of ecom people, but they're very scattered. They're very scattered.
The reason I mentioned it is I got two of my strongest supporters. I got Sanjay from Replo.
Yeah.
And Zoe from Refunnel. So those two there, I talked to both of them about it, and they were gung ho about it. I think it's a direct flight for Chris Slang.
Yeah.
It's a direct flight for me. I'm not sure if it's a direct flight for Michael, but it probably is. So that's why we were looking at it. I don't know if there's a direct flight to Austin. Plus, I mean, Jimmy's got his event in Austin. He's in Austin.
He does.
We wanted to serve a different market.
Yeah. I get you. I get it. There are some great businesses there.
Yeah. So our basically our plan for the next year or so is we're going to probably throw some small events in cities like Nashville and smaller cities. My wife's trade show that we started in 2020. We do it 35 times a year, and it's all in, it's Pittsburgh, Boston, Chicago. There's like 5 towns in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And
this is in your blood. You know this thing. I mean, this is in your blood.
I had an event space in New York City, and I come from events because the nightclub business, is big, can do with events. And I owned a couple of events years ago. I started this thing called, two of us, I don't know if I would, maybe I didn't own it. I owned the business. I think I owned the originator, but I didn't own the show, the Seed, a vegan event.
Oh.
And I mean, I'm the last person you would ever see with some vegan stuff. But I owned an event space, and we did a research product, and we found that there wasn't enough vegan events in New York City. So we hired a couple of front men who were vegans and women. And then me and my partner, Harvey, were the guys behind it, and we started throwing events. We did a beer event, and I mean, I definitely drink some beer, so I was. All right. So we started doing events, and then I figured out that it was relatively easy to do events if you just do research. And if you want to start your own DTC event, I would say go to Reddit, go to LinkedIn, scrape the comment, and put it on a list, and then figure out what people don't like, because that's what I did. I just scraped the comments of all the conference mentions on Google, and I put it on a spreadsheet, and then we were like, okay. And then we just launched it, and it took off from there. It was easy.
Wow.
Well, Johnny, we know that you are a busy man, and we appreciate you making the time, brother. This is very insightful convo, and the only thing that I want to make sure is that we figure out when you're coming to Dallas, and we make sure we can have you back on the show. Can we do that?
We can. New York City in July, too. I mean, we like cowboys. You ever seen a naked cowboy?
No, I have not. No.
He's a Times Square legend.
All right. Okay.
Times Square. Never seen him?
I'm not sure I want to see him. But
No, I've seen him. I know what you're talking about, Johnny. Yeah, I've seen him.
That's great. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, Johnny. Look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks a lot. Great to meet you on the show. Nice to see you, Colin.